Crimes and criminals are increasing here day by day. The surprising thing is that even small children are committing unbelievable crimes. Why is this happening? We are doing a video to remind you that we are not safe in our homes. Take charge of your safety and let us try to live a peaceful life. Here are the guilty teens reacting to life sentences. Some just reacted to it in the worst way. See what happened to them. James Holmes. Through gas canisters, James entered the theater. He put on a protective shield and began firing his rifle pistol. That incident killed 12 people and injured 70 others. James is no longer a teenager, but he was when he committed this heinous crime. According to Wikipedia, James Holmes is a mass murderer. Since July 20, 2012, more than a decade has passed. When he was arrested the next day, he identified himself as the Joker from a movie. Holmes planted explosives in his flat prior to the shooting, which were defused by a bomb squad after he was arrested. After being apprehended by police, Holmes was hospitalized, and he even attempted suicide several times while in jail. Holmes pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, which was accepted. His trial began on April 27, 2015. On August 26, 2015, Judge Carlos A. Seymour indicted Holmes and sentenced him to 12 consecutive life sentences plus 3,318 years in prison without the possibility of parole. The jury spared Holmes the death penalty by a single vote. A single vote is enough not to give a death penalty for a defendant. It is the intention of this court that the defendant never set foot in free society again. Judge Seymour declared in an imposing sentence. He even dyed his hair a strange orange color. He has faced 165 charges carrying the death penalty, which he has avoided by claiming he is mentally ill. Later, he was sentenced to 12 life terms plus thousands of years in prison. This means he will never see the outside world in his lifetime. He began his sentence at Colorado State Penitentiary, one of the highest security prisons in the state. After some time, James was transferred to another prison in the United States. John Silva. This article will discuss a first-degree murder trial. The convict is a 15-year-old boy who committed the crime in 2001. His name is John Silva. He was accused of strangling Jerry Lee, a 12-year-old boy. With such a heinous crime, the jury did not believe he was an innocent adolescent. He was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. There were 12 jurors, and it only took about 2 hours for them to convict John. The jury could have foisted second-degree murder and manslaughter charges. Silva's mother and sister started crying as the verdict was read out loud, and they broke down in tears even more as the judge spoke. "I'm just sorry we both lost sons to this," said crying Marlon Alley. "It's a shame. This didn't have to happen at all. He will die in prison." During closing arguments, Assistant District Attorney Gary Wood tied an elastic bandage around neck to show how he was strangled. "This is a death weapon," Woods declared. He wrapped it 4 times around Jerry Alley's neck and knotted it 4 times. Silva stated that on the 3.5-hour tapes, which jurors heard on Wednesday, that Jerry's death on May 26 was an accident that occurred when they wrestled in a dry septic tank pit and the boy hit his head. 3 of Silva's fingerprints, as well as one of the victims, were found on a note outlining his plans. A list to prepare Jerry, the note said, spelling mistakes included. There were lines like strip to underwear, wrap in towel, tie up hands, gag, and cover eyes. Silva apologized earlier in the video. "I'm sorry," he said to investigators. "I had no intention of this happening." TJ Lane. A teenager is swearing and giving the victim's family the middle finger. This is none other than TJ Lane. In front of the judge for sentencing for the 2012 school shooting in Ohio, he was a very abnormal child. Lane appeared at his sentencing, choosing to wear a homemade t-shirt with the word killer written in black marker. TJ was 17 years old when he fatally assaulted 3 students while injuring 3 others. Despite the fact that he was a minor at the time of the attack, he was tried as an adult and sentenced to 3 life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. Of course, with this behavior, how can a judge decide otherwise? But the surprising thing is, TJ escaped from prison only a few years after the attack. He escaped from Allen Correctional Institution in Ohio with 2 other inmates just 8 days before his birthday. He managed to flee by using a makeshift ladder. During recreation hours, they used it to scale down a fence. Police conducted a nationwide search and advised neighbors to lock their doors. Both men were eventually apprehended and TJ was locked up in a small cell for 23 hours a day. He will likely be transferred to a maximum security facility later. Dylan Shoemaker, only 17 years old. This adolescent murdered a 23-month-old baby in Austin, Erie County. The child belonged to his girlfriend. In 2014, a second-degree murder occurred. He was found guilty by a jury and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. Dylan stated that he did not want to hurt Austin or see him die. He could have said something more convincing. He even said he would like to give his life to Austin and weep fakely. However, the judge, M. William Baller of the state Supreme Court, stated that he is 16 years old and understands what is right and wrong. Do you agree with that? He knew punching Austin in the head was wrong. Dylan was residing with his mother and girlfriend Ashley Smith at that time. He covered Austin's face with a pillow so he wouldn't wake his 3-month-old brother. He used to look after the babies. Another surprising thing Dylan said to his mother was that he is only 16, so he will cry and the judge will feel sorry for him. The judge was an experienced man who did the right thing. In fact, the judge has already got to know about this conversation between Shoemaker and his mother. Never believe that being a teenager spares you from getting life sentences. Crime is a crime no matter what your age is. Even child defendants are being charged with guilty crimes. However, his punishment was lowered from 18 years to indeterminate time in 2016. So he is able to get parole after 18 years, but even then, Dylan will be under state supervision for the rest of his life. Shondell Jackson. Shondell Jackson, a young man, was convicted of murdering a college student. He is now serving his sentence in the Milwaukee County Courthouse. Jackson was only 18 years old at that time. Jackson and his friend were looking for victims. They noticed Potter leaving a bar. Potter, who was 21 at the time, was a student of the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Potter was being yelled at and chased for money. When Jackson discovered Potter didn't have any money, the situation changed. Potter was killed instantly by Jackson's gunshot. According to officials, Jackson fled to Mississippi shortly after Potter's murder. His uncle is reported to have informed the police where he fled. In the video, Jackson is seen making gestures towards the victim's family and being guided out of the courtroom while on trial. Just before the sentencing, he can be seen winking at the family. Jackson's mother admitted to the jury that she found out about the murder while watching TV. I even burst into tears when I saw it on the news. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I had no idea my child was involved in it. My child is not a demon. As the judge sentenced Jackson to life in jail with no chance of parole, Jackson lost his cool. While the cops are holding Jackson, a member of Jackson's family can be heard becoming enraged at the victim's family. Jackson is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole, whereas his friend, who admitted to acting as the lookout, was sentenced to 12 years. Do you believe that to be the right decision? Share your comments below. We can't believe our society is becoming so hopeless that we are discussing teenage criminals. Teenage is a confusing period, but becoming thieves and murderers is not the best choice. Guys, like this video if you really liked it. We can meet again with another intriguing subject. That is all for today. Bye!